Again, guys, that music gets me so fired up. My name's Liam. I'm one of the Hustle Brothers here. I'm here with my good friend, Christopher Bell, the founder of the Haste Club. And guys, again, this man needs no introduction at all. We've got the wizard himself. We have Scotto. Scotto, mate, how are we getting on, brother?
Doing well, man. How are you guys doing?
Do you know what? Weather's starting to drop a little bit here. We've been sitting, I don't know, we are in Celsius, so we're sitting about 30 degrees Celsius the last week. We're dropping a lot of rain at the moment, but Chris,
Celsius don't mean nothing. Freaking European, you got to get it back in the American talk, buddy. You know, I got to bust your balls a little bit, man. I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. As a matter of fact, guys, no one probably knows this. Maybe a few of you do, but when I first started the Haste Club, we were joking around about the whole, Fight Club kind of thing, and it was Jacob himself. I'm sorry, not Jacob. I was wrong. We have Jacob on later on this week. I'm looking at notes, so I apologize. It was actually Scotto that came up with the design for Haste Club. The same design you guys see on the screen. All credit to Scotto. So thanks again for that. Thanks again for sending it to me last week. But yeah, all credit to Scott, as well as a bunch of the numbers that I throw out there and I steal from Scott. So thanks again for those. But man, love having you on. This is going to be a lot of fun. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, guys, this is going to be very, very different. You're used to seeing Scott for the wizard that he is, but we're here for more of get to know Scott. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do it Haste Club style. We're going to find out about his investing journey in the likes of RKLB. We're going to touch on a bit of Redwire. Then if we get into it, we might look at a few articles. But guys, feel free. It's not every day you get to speak to Scott live. So feel free to jump into the comments and ask him a few questions. But Scott, I want to start off with, you are having a baby very, very soon, brother. Congratulations. I want to wish you luck with that. It's your second, is it?
Second, yeah. So we got a little baby girl, 2.5 years old, and she's a bundle of fun, of course. And then, yeah, she's going to be a big sister right away. So we don't know the gender yet, but
oh, you don't know gender yet?
No, I'm kind of hoping for a boy, selfishly, just because I just she's like a little girly girl so far, which is great. But I kind of want like someone to play Lego or talk investing with. So
hey man, real men have girls. Real men have girls. I've got two myself. I do have a son, but believe me, I was never challenged as much in life until my daughters came along. So yeah, good on you. I started off with a son, so made it a little bit easier. Girls can be a lot more difficult. But either way, man, congratulations, boy or girl. I'm sure you guys can be more than happy. And I know you're gonna be very busy coming up. I'm sure you haven't got a lot of sleep. So again, thanks for coming on. Before Liam jumps back in, something similar to what I asked Dave, but I'm sure it's a little bit different for you because you're more of a numbers guy, and I can only imagine the amount of time you put into not just your research, but the videos you put in. Because unlike us, you are quite a perfectionist. And as you'll get to know us, you're like, these guys don't care. They just go live and just go crazy. So when let's just say hypothetically, you're looking at a upcoming Haste or Electron launch, and you're going to go in and doing your numbers and your research. And again, pretend like you're talking to a small child or a dog or something, because there's a lot of new investors that are new to this, and some of it can be overwhelming. But when you're going into it, do you have like a quick checklist you go over? Is there something that you always go to? It doesn't have to be a website. It can just be just your own personal checklist. What is it that gets you in that mind frame, and what is it that you look for when you're doing your research when it comes to looking at the numbers? How do you go about doing it?
Do you mean like in specific for a video, or just kind of like a general like a research approach?
Just in general research approach. You wake up and you see something in the chat, you see something pop up on or YouTube or just in the news, and you go, I want to go look at that, because I guarantee you the way that you jump into it and the way you look at it is a lot different than a lot of other people out there. Because when I first met you, I was like, I don't like this guy, man. He's like a Rocket Lab bear. I don't know if he knows what he's talking about. And the more I read into what you were talking about, I was like, wow, this guy's really smart. I should really, really open my eyes up and pay more attention, because I can be way too bullish. Guilty. I can be way too bullish, and I will ignore the things that my mind just forces me to ignore because I want to look at the best things. You came in and you're like, hey, I think we're missing this. I think we're missing that. And it helps as an investor to be reminded of those things, especially if you're one like me, you're not going to do all the numbers. You're going to miss out on those things. So yeah, when you're approaching an idea, let's say you're looking at, you're going to look into the possibility of it was an Amazon contract. And so you're going to prepare yourself for that. What do you think when you're going into, breaking down some numbers and breaking down a stock or breaking down an idea? What are the first couple of things you start thinking about?
It's a good question. To kind of touch on the bearish thing too, that's like, it's humorous in a way. And I often mention it to my wife. Like, I think that I'm often perceived as like pessimistic or negative. And I don't see it that way. I don't see myself as bearish. I think I like to think that I'm pretty rational, pretty like, kind of in the middle. And I understand, like, a great example. I remember it was like right tail end of 2019. So everybody's all like worried about Me Too or whatever the current trend is, right? And I remember kind of being like, do you think we should maybe talk about this like impending pandemic? And it's like, whoa, okay, that's negative. And I'm like, is that negative though? Or is that just like maybe something that we should be addressing before it becomes a problem? Kind of like what Peter Beck says, like orbital debris is going to be a problem. We should probably discuss the problem before it becomes a problem, right? So, but yeah, I understand if I come across as a little bearish at times, but like, whatever, it is what it is. But in terms of like
that was my ignorance. No, that was my ignorance. It helped me as an investor. It really did. Dude, I'm honest, man. I tell people all the time, man, I'm the village idiot here, man. I make mistakes, and I learned a lot because I didn't look at it like, I was joking. I was like, I didn't hate Scott. I just looked at it like, man, I don't like this guy saying, but if I'm going to be smart about this and I'm going to be true to myself and honest with myself, I've got to look at this information. And when I started looking at it, I learned a lot more about the company, and I learned a lot more about the right way to be an investor. So that was just kind of a joke on my part. I didn't, yes, it's better to be more logical, a little bit more that kind of mind frame, because especially as a father, you're thinking about everything in the world at one time. You got to protect everything around you, including your investments. So that's the right approach. And again, I'm new. I'm only a couple of years into it. And so looking at it opened my eyes. And that's why I asked the question as far as like, what gets you going in that direction? What gets you excited about when you do your research? Because again, bro, I can fall asleep listening to the numbers. But you do it so well. You can obviously see that there's a passion that you have behind it. And the way you do it is just amazing. That's why everyone seems to love you. So yeah, I didn't mean to say it in a negative way.
No,
please don't take it that way whatsoever.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at
but
all.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Just have fun with it. Really, just have fun with it. But I was just curious because everyone has their own style, their own method. My method is a cheat and message Francisco and go, hey, tell me stuff, or or message you, go, hey, Scott, look at this and give me all the info. That's my method sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. And we all joke about it here, but that's the beauty of having guys like you in the community. You do have that passion, and you've got a gift, bro. You got a true gift for what you do. So again, I was just hoping to get a little bit of insight on your thought process when you first going. It doesn't have to be a rocket lab. Doesn't just investing in general. I'm sure there's red flags you look for. There's certain things you prefer to break down first before you get into something else. Just in general, it doesn't have to be specific. I was just curious.
I wish I had like a clean cut answer for you, but it's like, I mean, a lot of it since kind of putting myself out there as like a content creator, like a lot of my my current holdings are from people who have reached out and kind of gave me a quick elevator pitch. And some of them make a lot of sense, and some of them are like, I'll shout out Curtis. I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but he I almost don't even want to talk about this company. I'm super bullish on them, but the valuation makes no sense. But he's talking about, they're called TMC, the metals company.
Okay.
And I've fallen in love with them. Well, so far, it's one of those things like, to kind of drive towards your question, Chris. It's like, I'll kind of start just with like interviews of the CEO, for example, or just a very high level, like, if somebody says like this stock is super undervalued, maybe compare it to other companies within the industry, that kind of thing, and just kind of go from there. But I'm like I kind of break things down into like milestones, almost like the first like 1 to 5 hours is more just like a consideration period, and that's kind of where I'm at with like TMC, right? And kind of at that point, if I'm still liking what I'm seeing, just kind of based on like a very high level valuation, the management seems to know what they're doing, the industry seems to be heading in the right direction, I'll add what I heard once described as like a give a shit position, where it's like it's small enough as a percentage of your net that it's like, if you lose 1%, okay, you live, right? But enough that it's a dollar amount that you wouldn't want to lose. So it's different for everybody, right? But if your account is $1,000, right, you don't want to lose like anything at that point, right? Because that is a hefty percentage. Yeah, hopefully I'll kind of pause it there. Does that making sense? Like,
no, massively.
No, that's perfect, bro. I loved it. That's awesome. I love it.
Cool. Thank you. Then like kind of as we go on, like another kind of milestone. And again, all this, like everything, all these rules that I have for myself are loosely held. And I think that's important to like as a approach to investing as well. Like have rules, but don't be afraid to kind of push them at times if there is an opportunity, right?
Yeah, I mean the first rule of Haste Club, man, we break that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. And then like from that like give a shit position, not only is that like, skin in the game, but like you're just going to care so much more about the next, that extra 1% that you put in, and then the next percent that you put in. And like after, maybe, I don't know, 20 plus hours of research, 10 to 20, we'll call it. By that time, you're like building a proper position, assuming all goes well. Like I've had it with MDA. I did like the whole research spiel, and I'm like, all right, I want to build this position heavy, right? So I started adding in the 15s, and it was like within a couple months, it's in the 30s, and I'm like, oh, it's like doubled, and it's like I think it's like 2% of my portfolio. It's still there, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just that like hard pill to swallow of like, it's nice to build over a period of time. Like High Tide is a great example. That's when I've been able to build for a very long time, and I think that's going to pay off really well. But time will tell.
Thank you so much for your quite detailed response. Absolutely love it, brother. What we'll do, we'll jump straight across to the comments. Johnny Mac, yo, how are we getting on, brother? GY Kiwi, great to have you here again, brother. Hi, Johnny. What we'll do, we'll jump into this a little bit further on, because I do want to ask Scott about Redwire, but I have a few questions for him first. AK Willie, awesome, Scott. Oh, GY Kiwi, winter in New Zealand, -2 degrees this morning. Scotto can help with the design for Chris's Haste tattoo. Have you heard about that?
Johnny, I'm going to kill you, bro. I'm going to kill you, man. I love you, but man, I was waiting for that to come up. We're not going to get Scotto involved. We don't need any more pressure. It's not no, Johnny. Man, man, you guys are killing me. I love it though. That's funny. Keep it going.
Richard, let's go. Guys, if you followed me across from stream an hour ago with the VTOLs, if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to Scotto. Wait a minute, let me bring up, it's Scotto2050. Guys, this guy actually makes numbers fun. And he's got a thing done.
He doesn't. Scott, you got a YouTube channel, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, go ahead and plug that too. We've done a bad job plugging mine, but maybe we can plug yours and we'll get a better response. Yeah, you guys join. He's on the weekly with the guys. You all go. You know, most of you guys know who the guys are. Does a great job, and he's got a YouTube channel. And when he's not busy being a father and a husband, and you know, a lot more responsible person than me, he puts out some great videos. So whether you're a seasoned investor or you're a brand new investor, it's the kind of videos that I would highly recommend looking into before you go and start dropping, you know, randomly just dropping money in the stock because Kramer told you or whoever. These are the kind of people we look to when it comes to, I wouldn't say actually coming to investing, but when it comes to getting the bottom line, getting the real information, seeing things before they actually really happen sometimes, and getting ahead of the curveball. And it helps having, you know, people like a Liam, like a Johnny. I'm still not getting the tattoo, but I still love you. And of course, like a Scotto, man. I'm gonna say it 10 times, dude, or more. Thanks so much for coming on. I've been looking forward to this for so long. We'll try not to bombard you with too many crazy questions, man. We're supposed to be here just sitting back, kicking back, having fun. And we do get the comments involved as much as possible. You guys are great. Thanks again for everything. But yeah, let's just keep going from there.
So I really want to go back to the very start. We're going to go back to a younger version of Scott. Scott, what got you involved in investing? And sort of when did you get involved? How long have you been investing for?
I've been investing for over a decade at this point.
Okay.
And long story short, I was broke in my 20s and decided like, no, like I can't be like this anymore. Like rent was due in a few days, and it was just like I can't express the weight that I felt, you know. And I was like, I'm never going to feel like this again. So I put myself through like a financial education course that I found on YouTube, and everything kind of trickled from there. I read a bunch more books on finance as well on top of that, and just
have you a favorite book?
I'd have to say there's one called, I think it's just called Invested by Danielle Town. And she wrote that. It's like I think I don't know, her father's involved as well. You might know the name Phil Town. He's an author as well. He's has some good books as well. I found those were super approachable in terms of like a new investor, just kind of how, like, what to look for. There's even like some formulas that I still rely on till this day of like the just kind of like the way that I calculate my certain parts of my valuation models are from those books, as well as many other books as well. So yeah.
And then what got you involved in Rocket Lab?
I guess the Elon Musk empire, as like I've been a Tesla investor since 2019, and at that time, you know, you're kind of watching SpaceX on the side, like, oh, I wish I could invest in that. And then there was all the SPAC excitement in, what was it, 2021, and I invested in kind of like SpaceX Junior, which was Rocket Lab. Actually, I think if memory serves, I invested in Rocket Lab and Astra on the same day at $10 even. And that, I think they're both in their, I can't remember what Astra was, but Rocket Lab was VACQ at the time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It seems like so long ago now. Getting old.
So you got in early at VACQ. That's the same time I got in, and for the exact same reason. I learned the hard way that if you're going to invest in something, you invest in something that you're passionate about. And I say this a lot, you know, I like chocolate, but I'm not passionate enough about chocolate to where I'm going to look up, you know, reports and keep up with the daily of what Hershey's doing, because it just gets boring. Space is fun. And I was looking for something like that. I thought I had it in Virgin Galactic because I was stupid. I was an idiot. I thought Branson, you know, he's successful. Why not? And I was brand new to investing. And Rocket Lab, you know, kind of popped up. And again, you know, we saw Dave G and Stock Trek Girl start putting out videos. So I got in early as well. And you said you got into Tesla. Do you see any, because I see some sort of similarities in the way that Rocket Lab runs their organization in terms of, hey, we take raw materials in one door and out the back door, we have everything from space systems to launch. You see that the same kind of thing with Tesla. Do you see that same kind of, correlation, that same similarity in the two of them?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think like it's almost like it's almost perplexing why nobody has done the vertical integration till Tesla came along with that buzzword. Like when you look at like, picking on like ULA or whoever else, like ESA even, it's just NASA is a great example too. It's like too many cooks in the kitchen is only going to slow things down. And yeah, I don't know. You just see how efficiently Rocket Lab is able to operate. And it's like, unless you're mimicking that model, you're not going to be able to keep up, frankly.
A big one I really want to ask is like, Peter Beck better than most of us here. He just seems like a very natural, down to earth guy. Do you see the similarities between him and Elon?
I don't know. I mean, I've never talked to Elon, obviously, but I think it. I don't know. No, no. Like a quick answer is no. Like I don't like. I think that like, and I've read both of Elon Musk's biographies, and
yeah,
he definitely has a mean side to him. And I'm not even saying that like I understand that some people could look at him like he's a dick or like a rude person. But I mean, if his, and granted, there's going to be mixed feelings. Like everybody has mixed feelings. You bring up Elon Musk, and then you can't be neutral on him, right? He's one of those people you have to love or you have to hate. There's no in between allowed. But I'm like, if being a little bit mean from time to time gets you those results, like, okay, let him be mean, I guess. Like, but I don't see that at all with Peter Beck. I don't know if he like, and it's like, I don't know, maybe you don't need to be mean, but I don't know. He just seems like such a sweet guy. And like, a little bit of like insider baseball here, but there was, when we were interviewing the one time, I can't remember what the question was, but I kind of like fumbled my words and I was like, God, I look so stupid right now. But it was just completely like, oh yeah. Like, and he just answered the question normal. Like it wasn't like, obviously he's not going to like be like idiot. Like
you've had a chance to actually interview the guy. So you do have a.
Sorry, did you cut out there?
I think we lost you there, Chris. Well, I'll continue. Yeah, going on from that, like, I think, especially in this space, we can be our own worst enemy, our biggest critiques. And then I'm sort of jumping back to Scotto rather than Rocket Lab. You go very, very high level detail into some of your videos.
Oh, bro, no.
I think we've lost Krista. You go very high level detail into some of your videos. So I want to ask you on a personal note, how long would it take you to create the likes of a video? I know with the likes of myself, Reese, Chris, Dylan, we can pump out a video within the day, but we don't go into the level of detail you go into. And guys, if you haven't seen it, he does make numbers look very, very fun. But Scott, how long does it take you to create a video?
Honestly, like part of me doesn't want to admit to it. It's like, it has to be like, just like when I approach a video, like on average, I'd say 20 hours is kind of what it, like, I find that if you take the minutes that the video ends up being, double that, but take the minutes and convert them into hours. That's kind of how long it takes. But that's like research, and like the editing is atrocious. Honestly, I hate editing. Like I like the completed video, but like I'm almost envious of people who can just like Amit's a good example where he just like every morning just like turns, like, granted he's not just like just talking nothing obviously, but the type of person that can just be that charismatic and just talk and just go on for an hour, I'm like, I envy that, because sometimes when I'm like even recording my own videos, I'm just like, I'm gonna redo that take. I gotta redo that take. Gotta redo that take. So I just kind of start rambling, and I'm like, does that even make sense? So it's like at this point, it's like a lot more efficient than it used to be, but like still quite heavily scripted. Some parts that I just kind of go off for, but the number stuff, it's like kind of as you're saying, like the number, like I'm glad that you guys perceive it as fun, but like that stuff, it's like has to be like perfect, right? Because
Yeah.
like man, I made this one video. I think it was comparing SpaceX and Rocket Lab, and there's one part where I mixed up the numbers, and I'm like, if that number was wrong, then the entire rest of the video is wrong. So I had to scrub the entire thing after it had been posted. It was just, oh, it was devastating, man.
No, I have mad respect for what you do, because people can be a lot more critical of you than they can of the likes of us. We are very opinion based, and look, it can get a lot of people talking, whereas the likes of numbers is either right or it's wrong. And if you make one mistake in the comments, can be a joyful place, but it can be a dangerous place too, a minefield. Then I want to sort of jump in across. The guys know here me from the VTOL space, and it got me very interested in the likes of Redwire. So we know Redwire acquired Edge Autonomy. Edge Autonomy are very heavily in the likes of your VTOLs, your UAVs. I'll be honest, I did put in a little bit of position into Redwire. I started passively investing in it, let it more or less sit. I like the tide to space, and especially when I started proper. See, my biggest position was Rocket Lab. Then we started creating content on Archer and Joby, and it was a bit like I fell into the trap of just listening to you guys on the weekend and then feeling like, oh yeah, these guys have kept me up to date. I don't need to look at my thesis. And that's one thing I want to say, guys. Make sure you have your own thesis. Everyone is in a different scenario. None of this, what we say today, is financial advice. And again, what the guys do on Rocket Lab Weekly is not financial advice. But Scott, do you want to give me a little bit of a elevator pitch on Redwire space?
They are a very complex and confusing company.
That's what I found.
Yeah, they're like I've kind of critiqued them in the past, where like I don't know if it's granted they have to be a lot more hush hush, right? Like Rocket Lab, it's like you're launching a satellite that tracks wildfires, right? There's nothing secretive about that, right? Whereas Redwire, like a lot of their stuff is defense related, and you're kind of seeing it more and more with Rocket Lab, where it, like, you know, a bunch more launches are confidential, the reaction wheels are confidential, like more and more stuff seems to be confidential. Whereas like Redwire, for example, they're going, Edge was their 11th and largest by far acquisition. And with each of those, you kind of have to like, it's like it's its own little, I mean, obviously its own little business, right? So they do kind of everything across the, across the field in terms of like spacecraft components. They even build their own spacecraft. That's kind of a funny thing too, is like, as of 2024 end, they had 5 craft in orbit. So like I wrote into their Redwire Discord, like which 5 craft are these? And like, we can't even answer that. It's like, how do, like, guys, give us anything. Like, and I think that's why Redwire is so hard to track, because I don't think anybody wants to, like, there's not a lot of stones to turn over. And even that last video that I made, kind of essentially what I did is I took Redwire's past financials, I took both Redwire's and Edge's past financials, merged the two as though they've been a company for the past 3 years, and then kind of ran with that. So like even stuff like that, you think that Redwire would be able to just provide outright, but they kind of do this thing where they're like, yeah, in 2023 it was this, 2024 it was this, and then they bring Edge in. It looks like this huge bump up in revenue, but it's like, well, that's not, I want to say honest, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, sure, but like you had to like dilute the shit out of your investor base, like, and yeah, I mean that's kind of like, my biggest concern with Redwire, and full disclosure, I mentioned it in a video as well, but I did trim Redwire kind of for that exact reason.
Okay,
I just bought Redwire, man. You're telling me all the wrong stuff, man. That is not what I want to hear. I told you you're a bear. Damn it, Scott.
You bought my shares, bro.
I probably did. No, I'm just, dude. I love that, man. I love that. It's like I told you before we jumped on the live stream and we talked about it earlier. That's what actually drew me to you, is that you're the voice of reason when it comes. You know, I send you crazy stuff sometimes on Haste, and you're like, yeah, I know you're crazy. Or sometimes you've actually been like, hey, that's actually worth me looking into. So yeah, I just had to bust your balls a little bit about Redwire because I just bought in about a week or so ago. The dilution, honestly, I was looking at it. I'm trying really hard to see almost exactly the opposite of what you just said. So that's hilarious. I love that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to sell because of that. I'm just joking with you. I never put anybody up to, hey, I'm taking financial advice and I'm buying and selling because of you. It's just funny to talk about, especially because I just got into it. And normally, you know me, I would have bounced this off of you before I would make not financial buys or sells. I've never done that. Don't take that the wrong way, anyone. I've never just messaged Scott and go, hey, should I buy this? No, I just say, hey, Scott, have you saw this? What do you think about that? And he gives me the numbers on it. Doesn't give me an opinion or advice, which I love you for. But no, I just had to jump in, man. That was kind of funny. That just was kind of hilarious to me because I just bought in last week. But and I did mention Haste, and I don't want to get too far off course here, but I didn't want to get too far away from when you did interview with Beck. Because I got kicked off there for a second and I lost my question. So I wanted to go back to it really quick. When you got a chance to actually talk to Beck, you came out of left field, bro, and you hit him with some Haste questions. And I was in the background and I was cheering. I was clapping. I was like, get him, Scotto. Because the reaction that I saw, the visual, now I can read body language. I've studied psychology most of my life. I think he was genuinely impressed with your questions. I really do. I think you came with some very intelligent questions. You weren't assuming in any way. You weren't opinionated. You just came with very genuine questions. And I love the Haste aspect of it. Of course, you know, we're all this Haste Club, man. Was there anything that you picked up on that maybe some people may have just missed?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of like jogging my memory. I don't remember the exact Haste question. I remember Matt asking a Haste question, but was it like in terms of backlog? You mean?
You hit him with like 3 or 4 questions about Haste back to back to back.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was well, I've got the video saved. It is genius to me. And they did the reaction he had, because you know Beck, you know when you interview, sometimes he's just quick and to the point, but every once in a while he kind of sits back a little bit and kind of tilts his head a little bit and go, huh, how'd you know that one? You know, kind of, and he won't answer directly. He's too smart for that. But I honestly think he was genuinely impressed with your question. So just great job on that. I've got some more stuff I'm going to send you the next day or two. You know me, it's Haste stuff. So thanks in advance for telling me I'm wrong again.
I'm going to jump across here straight to the comments. So we have Julie, hi Scott, Liam, and chat, and Chris. Olga, great to see you here. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you here, Scott. Oh, B-Tech surely should short Joby. I think I've missed a. I think someone said about Joby, didn't they? Julie, hi Olga. Hi Julie, hi everyone. I'd say good luck, sir. Our favorite stock. Now, I want to then jump into Johnny Mac had a question there about Redwire. So, Scott, do you see Redwire as a possible acquisition target in the defense industry?
I don't think so. I think Like not anytime soon, anyways. I think with this whole, like the company underwent like a serious restructuring, like in terms of who owns what now. It's like 64% ownership by, I think AE is who comes out with the majority of that. So no, I don't think so. I mean, for the right price, maybe, but I think they are kind of more in the mindset of like, let's do it from the ground up and let's have it for ourselves.
And then this is a personal question asking back again. As a Rocket Lab investor, do Redwire worry you at all, or is it completely separate?
I think there's some crossover, but I think that I was going to say most, but definitely not most. I think a lot of companies are going to rise together, and I don't see, like, sure, there's some like leeching or whatever you want to call that. Like, you know, Redwire might get a contract that Rocket Lab otherwise might have, but no. I think they serve different enough markets that they'll both do fine, especially Redwire now with Edge. But yeah, they're both going to do extremely well over the next while. And I'm not talking like share price necessarily. Like the businesses are both very sturdy, in my opinion.
No, thank you so much for that. And G-Boy Kiwi says Planet Labs is also becoming more confidential. Are you invested in Planet Lab, Scott, or have you ever been?
I have been, yeah. I know quite a bit about Planet Labs and Black Sky both, and I've voiced my concern with both in the past. I think that both Planet Lab, sorry, full disclosure, I have invested in Planet Labs in the past. I'm currently out, and I am currently in Black Sky now. So
okay. Do you want to give me an elevator pitch on Black Sky as well, because I haven't deep dived in?
It's like a Planet Labs that's actually growing.
Okay.
I say that half joking. I don't want anybody to get too upset, but no, I don't know. More in terms of like valuation, I think they're both doing well, but like Planet Labs is, it's been a while since I've looked at them, but they're only guiding for like, I think 11% growth in 2025, and Black Sky's guiding for 30% growth. And
yeah, man, I quietly, secretly, really, really like Black Sky. It's something I've never really talked about. I'm actually happy you guys brought it up. It's because of Rocket Lab, obviously. You know, I would have never heard of them if it wasn't for Rocket Lab. Mm-hmm. But as far as you look at some of the people, you know, even if like in Congress and stuff like that, they're getting some decent attention from some of the bigger players. And I do like what I see, you know, what they're trying to establish long term. So yeah, I do appreciate that. That's a whole another rabbit hole we can easily get down.
Mm-hmm.
And then this could be
to talk about there for sure. Yeah,
this could be controversial to say. I didn't realize how controversial of a topic ASTS is in the ASTS Rocket Lab saga. Do you know what? I got involved in a little bit of misfire one day. I was liking people's posts, and then I seen, was it Matt and a few of the guys going back and forth on X. I was like, yo, is this what it's like, the ASTS Rocket Lab space? Chris, that is something we would love to get involved in. Imagine us being bringing on someone to debate ASTS and Rocket Lab. That'd be unbelievable. But
a full disclosure on ASTS, I gotta say this, ASTS, I was ignorant on the company, I'll admit. I was thinking very basic, as I always do, and I was like, that's just a satellite. How you got to have a launch company to get them up, and they're just racing up and racing up and racing up. And I finally broke down and started getting into the numbers, which you guys know I really hate doing. I've been very impressed. I got to admit, I've been very impressed, and I don't understand the kind of bickering that goes on between Rocket Lab. It's a bit too much for a cult, if you ask me. I love Rocket Lab. You guys know I'm a big bull, but when it comes to space, I really want everyone to succeed. Even Bezos' big penis rocket, I want it going up as often as possible. No pun intended, Jacob. I love you, bro. But, you know, I want them all to succeed because rising tides lift all boats. it's important that we look at, the things that might not make them succeed and grow off of that. But, I like most of the ASTS people. We try to get a certain guy on that most of us know. I'm not even going to mention his name. We're going to keep him private. I respect his privacy. I respect the fact he's not coming on because he just had a brand new child himself. So as a father, I respect that. But if any of you guys, on the ASTS side want to come on, have a friendly debate, give us a pitch, come on, please. This is open forum. It's free world. We're laid back here. We don't take things too serious. So you're not going to get this big argument or nothing like that. I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking we're going to have Scotto on here and we're going to go, hey, Scott, give us the numbers on this and give us these numbers and give us these numbers. This guy deals with that every day. We went on to have fun, maybe sneak in a few numbers, of course. And I even had the idea, Scott, and I know it's going to be hard for you, but when it comes to the numbers time, there's no better time than right before earnings. Mm-hmm. And that's when we can deep dive, man, get really serious, peel back all the different layers, and love to have you on again. I know it's going to be difficult for you moving forward, but I'm already having a lot of fun, so I'm already going to want to invite you on. We still have a lot more to cover, but I'm going to thank you all for this whole podcast. Dude. This is great. This is so much fun.
Sweet. Then, Scott, I want to get into ASTS. Is that one you've ever invested in? Have you ever looked at it? What's your thoughts on them?
No, I'm, it's not that how do I put it? I've just never invested. Like I've spoken to a few people now that, I've like kind of opened my eyes to it, but it's still just like, I guess it's one of those things. I know I'm going to like step on toes here, but it's like, I think what I'm about to say is completely irrational.
Minefield, mate. I'd be careful.
Like it's one of those things. It's okay if your company is pre-revenue or just eking out a bit of revenue. It's okay, guys. But like some people don't want to invest in that, and that's okay. Like full disclosure, I do have a play similar to that in that they were like building the factory and revenues coming in now. It's that EOS Energy. But I would, how do I say, I would, if I were to buy into ASTS, it would be a very small amount. It would be like borderline like speculation allocation in the portfolio. Like I have like a maybe 5 to 10% that is like not gambles, but like educated gambles. You know what I mean? Like stuff.
Did you just mention, bro? Did you just mention EOS Energy? Is that what you just said?
Sure.
Did you just really say? Man, I've got to hit you up. I got to hit you up. I know you're busy, but wow.
Good or bad?
Good. I definitely need to hit you up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just awesome. It's crazy. You've already Black Sky and EOS. How have we not talked about this off screen? Sorry, didn't mean to jump in there, but you got me thinking. I'll be messaging you very, very soon. That's really cool.
Sounds good.
And then talking about like portfolio allocation, we say here, like, look, I'm not asking about the amount of shares you have. I couldn't care whether you have 1 share, 1 million shares. Value everyone's opinion. But I asked Dave the same question. We seem to have a lot of guests come on that are very highly consolidated in RKLB, where you'd get like 90%, 100% their portfolio. Dave G said he was around 30%. Did we hear, Chris? Now, you don't have to answer this question, but what kind of percentage would RKLB sit in your portfolio?
I'm just looking now. I think it's like 15, 20-ish.
Jesus Christ, Chris, what are we doing, bro?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we know Scott. He is going to be diversified. He's a lot smarter when it comes to investing than the likes of me and a lot of other people. Up until last week, I was 100% into RKLB, only because I'm poor and I can't afford to diversify just yet, and I don't want to miss out on, if I'm going to invest in anything, I've got 30 or 40 bucks sitting around, or if I go, pull an extra job, that's where it's going to go. But I did jump into Redwire last week, so coming Monday, I'll be 100% back into RKLB again because Scotto just screwed the whole thesis up. Dude, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. But no, I'm following line. I do want to. I'm going to continue to diversify. The 15% actually makes a lot of sense. I would not have expected much less from you, brother.
And this is a very selfish question as well, but I couldn't not ask this one. What would then be your highest percentage in your portfolio, or what stock you most pick today?
I think it would be I'm just kind of skimming right now. It looks like they kind of move around on the day, right? But
Yeah.
Tesla, Rocket Lab, High Tide, they're all tied right around 15%.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's all for like the larger ones, and then like the kind of next tier down, like the 10% range is like Redwire, Black Sky, EOS Energy, and then kind of getting under there's like a few more like very small, like some are like 1 or 2%.
And do you invest in any
ETFs
index funds?
Yeah, like barely though. Like all in all, like the ETFs or the index funds probably make up like not even 5%.
Okay, yeah. Chris, are you ready to unleash your Haste Club question for Scott?
I mean, as long as we're not missing it in the chats, we do try and keep everybody involved as we go along. But yeah, as long as there's nothing we're missing there.
I'll jump quickly to the chat. So we have Curtis here saying, good luck this week, Scott. And guys, if you missed the start of the stream, I know quite a few of you have jumped in as we've got going. Scott is having his baby within the next few days, are we saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They're going to have to be out by the end of the week, really. Their doctors are telling us it's showtime.
So we're going to happen like an hour or two. It's going to happen as soon as you get off the stream. You're going to hate us.
Olga votes for the tattoo. Julie, hello, Curtis. Lol, Olga. A rocket inside a heart, or a heart with the rocket as an arrow off the heart. My tat vote. Scenario: Johnny Mac. Neutron is delayed a year, blows up upon launch, and is delayed pending FAA investigation. The stock drops 15-20%. How do you see yourself reacting to those very possible outcomes? If it's delayed a year,
great question.
And blows up on launch, I'd be quite happy with a 15-20% drop. If it's delayed for a whole year, I think it'll drop a lot further than where it is now, because I don't know. That's just going off opinion. But what do you think?
Yeah, Scott. Yeah, dude. I blamed you for the bear case earlier. In all due respect, I didn't mean it to seem so that way. But since we put that label on you, if there was that sort of bear case, just basically glancing over the numbers, do you see a 15% drop? Would you see something more? If it was delayed a year, 6 months or whatever, what would you look at as far as, that bear case possibility?
I don't know, man. Like, nothing would really surprise me with Rocket Lab in terms of share price. But like, it would have to fall quite a bit from where it is for me to start buying again. And that's just, frankly, I just see better opportunities than Rocket Lab with I think its price to sales is like 30 or something, which is like, could go a lot higher. Like, you look at Palantir, I don't even know what their price to sales is, but it's higher than 30. But there's, there are better opportunities in my mind, but I don't know. There's just something about Rocket Lab that seems, I don't know, future proven, I guess. Strange way to put it, but yeah, it's not the best deal. I don't know. It's like anything in life, though. It's like you pay for quality, you're going to get quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like shopping for stocks is like, I mean, kind of like shopping for anything, like clothes. If you buy the cheap sweater, you're going to need to buy another cheap sweater because it's probably not durable. You know what I mean? Just buy the expensive sweater, buy the nice one. It's going to last you a lot longer, probably.
Yeah. No, I love that.
One thing I wish I asked
that.
Dave, and I can't believe I completely forgot about it, but this is kind of putting you on the spot, and I'm sorry for this. But what would your like ideal price target be in, say, the next, I don't know, what do you want to say, 2030 or say 5 years time?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's
That's a
funny.
bit of a mean question. Do you want me to come back to you on it?
I'm gonna sound so bearish, but like just like the number that comes to mind is like, I don't know, $50 by the end of the decade. But then, you see people online now, it's like it's going to $50 by the end of the year when Neutron launches first. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
Nah, that's one thing, guys. Again, if you came across on the eVTOL or you've just jumped into this stream, RKLB side, if you're investing in RKLB, you probably know who Scotto is. But if you've come across on the eVTOL side and you're learning about RKLB now, Scotto2050, make sure to follow him on YouTube. Bang that subscribe button. He does make numbers a lot more fun. He is the voice of reason. Sometimes when but he's there during the good and the bad days. Sometimes on them negative days when you think everything's going wrong, just jump into one of Scott's videos. It does cheer you up a bit, because I know Chris can say originally thought he was bearish, but then during the negative times, they can actually look quite bullish. So, guys, make sure to check them out. Also, guys, I've been asking you for the last week, you have to jump across to the Haste Club. Subscribe to Chris's channel. We need him to go live with me, please. Right. So Peter Beck is totally different from Elon. New Zealand being small, we grow up with innovative people. I don't think there's a company even close to doing what Peter Beck is doing, other than obviously SpaceX. Yes, Peter Beck is the best. We've covered that. RSW was drones. DJI is not allowed anymore. Is this true? Do you know what? I did hear about DJI, but we'll cover that on eVTOL Weekly, to be honest. The money in space comes from revenue streams from satellite constellations. Jackie's, I hold RKLB Redwire, or RBLK Redwire and RKLB, but I wish I had more ASTS. Neutron.
He's right. He's right. He's right to a degree. I'm just going to say he's right to a degree. As far as revenue in space, it will come from satellites, but don't forget about the big freaking Golden Dome and space defense, and look at where close to what 80% of what RKLB is going to bring in as far as revenue over the next 3 years plus is defense. There's a lot of money up there. The U.S. spends an amazing amount of money just in defense, and over the next 3 to 5 years, they're going to be ramping that up. That's not a question. You guys know me. I usually just joke around. That's a fact. I can guarantee that what they're investing this year is going to be more next year and then the year after that. Politics aside, like Trump aside, whatever you like, defense aside, we don't have any control over that, but that's where the money's going to go. So there is a lot more money out there than just satellites. No offense, you're right. There's a lot of money in satellites. I did miss out on the potential in ASTS. I'm going to do more research in it, but what RKLB is doing right now is putting them in a position that, much like Tesla, they're having to dilute shares, put a lot of extra time, a lot of extra research, acquiring other companies, because they're building a foundation for something that's going to last a lot longer and it's going to continue to grow. Whether it's a $50 share 5 or 10 years from now, that's very debatable. But you're looking at a company that is going to be servicing both defense, and as the commercial side grows, they're already set up for that. So yeah, again, love the comments, but I had to jump in there and just kind of correct that just a little bit. No offense, but a lot of money in space defense, man. A lot of money.
And then Jackie's Neutron will happen long before Robotaxi. Olga believes there'll be $50 this summer before Neutron. RW says software application, attitude adjustments for lunar landings, etc. Chris, you ready for your question for Scott?
Man, I had my question, but he doesn't remember talking to Beck about his question. So I was like, I don't know where to go from this. 'Cause I don't ever script anything out, but it's rare we have a guy like Scott on. So I was like, I got to make sure this is good. But yeah, no, Scott. So what I do is, you know me, we've met, and I send you crazy stuff. I'm like, hey, looking at this, and you're like, that's not going anywhere, dude. Get out of that rabbit hole now before you waste time. But every once in a while, I'll send you something, and you turn it into a whole lot more that I would have never seen. So thank you for that. But it's a tradition here. Whenever you're a brand new guest, we always ask the people when they first come on. Again, you don't need to bring numbers or receipts, but I want you to just kind of have fun with this and be super bullish, and give us something like whether it's, I think Neutron is going to be successful with its first launch and have satellites on it, or I think Haste is going to grow into a multi-bazillion-dollar company. Just whatever your craziest thesis, your craziest bullish attitude is, and it doesn't have to be about Rocket Lab. It could be SpaceX. It could be, well, God forbid, ULA. But when you're not sitting there doing the numbers and you're just dreaming and having fun, what are you thinking about? What direction do you want to see? Again, best case scenario.
Oh man, that's a good question. I'll kind of tie it in there. So there was a comment about where was that? About Robotaxi. I thought that was kind of funny because
I'll bring it up.
Yeah, he mentions that Neutron will happen long before Robotaxi. Well, Robotaxi just launched. And I mean, you can make the argument like, sure, it's like a geofenced area currently, but give it a year and we can, readdress that. But that's been kind of my thesis with Tesla, though, through the whole period, where it's been a lot of fun too, because I think so many people have been so hung up on the production and delivery numbers that it gave me a great opportunity to build that position over a good period of time, right? And there was even one point, I think I can't remember. I think it was 2021, maybe 2022, whenever it was, that Tesla went from like $1 trillion market cap down to like $100 a share, where I was just kind of like, I think I was not including cash, I was all in. I think it was the only stock that I held at that period. But that's kind of what's exciting to me. I'm just kind of, and that's just one thing. There's so much that I'm excited about for the future, but just that.
No, that's awesome. Normally, I don't have a follow-up question to that, because you mentioned Tesla. My dad's actually really big into Tesla and just getting into Rocket Lab. But do you see? So what? For me, the delivery numbers of cars and everything, that's great. Mm-hmm. But the thing I think I see about Tesla, not even think about the robots, but the energy side. I think that's very, very underrated and overlooked. And we only see that during the earnings call. Do you see that same kind of correlation? You see something there that I think the majority of people that are either invested or not, whether they like it or hate Tesla, they just kind of just ignore that. Do you see the same thing there with the energy side?
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I think by nature, I'm somewhat of a contrarian, not like I try not to be pesky about it, but like, for example, with Rocket Lab, like I've always been really hung up on electron recoveries or the reaction wheels or the kind of not so obvious parts, and kind of like what we're talking about with Tesla, where I think everybody's looking at like the production and delivery, but it's like, okay, what about the autonomous driving? What about the robots? What about the energy, right? And same thing with Rocket Lab, because there's going to be a rainy day where you're going to get the production delivery and it's going to be poor numbers and everybody's like, oh, what's happening? We're kind of in a frenzy, but it's like, okay, but let's readdress, like, let's talk about the energy again. Let's talk about the robots. Let's talk about all these revenue streams, right? And similarly with Rocket Lab, like there's going to be the day, like, and honestly, okay, so here's kind of like, I know Chris asked for like a bullish take, but like, devil's advocate here. At the end of the year, Neutron's going to launch. And the market might get really excited for that, sure. But like when they realize that that's going to generate $0 and that the next launch is in 6 months, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And that's like best case, right? Maybe they have a Starship moment where they blow up the entire pad.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, there's dilution, right? So like anything can happen. And it's going to be in those moments where it's like, okay, but like, let's circle back to the reaction wheels. Let's circle back to the Electron. Like, and it's a understandable critique that I hear, that it's like I get so caught up in the numbers, but like during those moments where it's almost like an inverse, where it's like if everybody's trying to be super bullish and I'm like in the middle, it's like, well, you're bearish, but it's like, okay, but when you flip that around, when everybody's going to be bearish, I'll be like, okay, but hold on. Yeah, Neutron's on the ground for a few months, but let's talk about the other like enormity of Rocket Lab, right? And I think that's when it becomes more valuable, I think.
Thank you so much for such a detailed response. And then, guys, you know me, I love space. I asked Dave G, would he rather go up in a rocket to the moon or down the submarine, deep ocean? I've got a question for Scott. Scott, would you rather be the first man on Mars or the last man on Earth?
First on Mars.
First on Mars.
Yeah. I think last on Earth. I mean, that's not
a good
situation, right? That's pretty bleak. With Mars, it's like, I don't know, even if you're dying up there, like even, everyone in your crew didn't make it or whatever, at least it's like, shit, we did it. This is okay, Your
name's in the history books.
Yeah. Do you guys watch The Martian?
Yeah.
I love that. My wife hates it. She always rips on me for it, but I'm like, it's the best movie.
Eating the potatoes. Oh, mate.
I'm the exact opposite.
Are you?
I'm the exact opposite.
Hey,
I don't want to get on
I
don't even want to climb a ladder. So going to Mars is crazy. But if no one's here on Earth, I can just go down to Norfolk Naval Weapons Station and get on the aircraft carrier and drive around. I mean, that'd be a blast.
It could bore him very quickly, though, wouldn't it? But anyway, guys, I want you to jump across to Scotto's channel. Look, we've been talking a lot about Redwire. Yeah, you need to jump into his video about that acquisition. I thought it was absolutely amazing, well detailed. Guys, you definitely have to follow this guy. As I've said, he is a wizard, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. He is a wizard when it comes to numbers, and like his videos are a lot more professional than the likes of mine. So make sure you check him out. But guys, if you would like to see Scotto back on here, please jump into the comments and tell us to make it happen. Scott, I would love to speak to you again, brother. This has been absolutely amazing. What I want to say, guys, is my name's Liam. I'm one of the host brothers here. We have the founder of the Haste Club, Chris, who keeps dropping in and out like a yo-yo. And then we have the man himself, Scotto. Scotto, any last words?
No, I'm glad that we found some time to come on before baby arrives. I was telling Chris, I'm like, we got to do it. And then now it's just everything in life right now feels so like you got to get it done or it's not going to get done kind of thing. So I'm like, it's last minute, but I was like, yeah, let's get on the show and let's have some fun.
No, I absolutely love to have you here. I hope you enjoyed it. Been a little bit different to what you're used to, but no, it was nice getting to know you, Scott. Right, guys, until tomorrow.